Adam here from Amplify Social. Today we're going to be talking all about Facebook events and the various things that we can do to make sure that people are seeing your events, the various settings, tweaks, and best practices. And we're going to make sure that you avoid a lot of the common pitfalls that bands and musicians are making along the way. So let's go ahead and dig in. So what we're going to be doing today is creating a fictitious Facebook event page for a concert. And we're going to use dummy data just to kind of show you the best practices for doing so. So the first place you're going to want to start is on your Facebook page. You don't want to do this from your personal Facebook. You want to do this from your artist page. And if you don't have an artist page, you really need to make one. But as you can see, I am here on the Amplify Social Facebook page. Right here where I would go to normally create a post, I would click the event link, and that's going to bring up a list of options, and we are going to go through each of them. First and foremost, we have the event photo or video. With Facebook, whenever you have the option to use video over a static image, please do. It's been my experience that when you use video, especially when it comes to events, approximately 60 to 70% more people see your event. And that translates to direct ticket sales, and that's the point of all of this. So I do have a video available that we're going to use for this. It has nothing to do with the dummy event that we are going to make, but it shows you what it kind of looks like, and it is right here. We are going to upload this. The dimensions for a Facebook event video are really strange. We're going to touch on video and image dimensions over the next couple of episodes, and I might release a PDF that has a list of all of them. They change constantly though, so that might just be something to look up. So up next we have the event name, and we are doing something completely fictitious here. So what I do when I'm creating an event name is, especially for a concert, is I like to say who's presenting the concert and then who's performing. And we're going to use my own production company for this. So we're going to say that this concert is My Chemical Romance and Panic at the Disco, presented by Pop Punk Night. And you know what? That's a little too long, so we are going to leave out the presented by Pop Punk Night. If you have the opportunity to fit that in, it does help a little bit with making sure people see it more. It helps with the algorithm. So in the event name, you want to list as many of the artists performing as possible. That's really important for visibility. I know on some hip hop shows where there are more than 10 to 15 artists performing, that can be problematic. You might want to call something like that a local hip hop showcase featuring one or two of the artists. So that kind of covers the event name. Up next, the location is pretty straightforward. You want to list the name of the venue where this would be happening. In my case, we're just going to pick something random here in Pittsburgh, and with that, the venue that I work at most is the Smiling Moose, so props to the Smiling Moose. And once you add the location, you can add the venue as a co-host. What that'll do, once they accept, it will allow your event to appear on their Facebook events calendar. This is really, really important for visibility. More people are looking at the venue events calendar than your page's events calendar in most situations. And if you're working with a venue who's not willing to do that, you're probably not working with a really good venue. So something to think about. The location and co-hosts are really important, and we're going to touch on co-hosts in a little bit here. Up next, you have a description. I have a pre-typed description about this event here, and you want to make sure you have as much information as possible about the event in the description. I'm going to paste that here and show you momentarily. So as you can see, I have a description: My Chemical Romance and Panic at the Disco, presented by Pop Punk Night. Up next, we have the date and the time. We have the venue. I originally typed House of Blues. We'll change that to Smiling Moose. There is no House of Blues here in Pittsburgh, PA. All ages show. That's important because you'll get endless questions on concerts if they're all ages or 21 plus, especially in areas like Pennsylvania here where kids aren't allowed to be in bars after a certain hour. You have your ticket prices. And then you have featuring, and I have the two bands performing, and then descriptions of both of them. And in those descriptions, I mentioned some of their songs and some of their albums. And that's really good for visibility and search engine results. And you want to do that for each artist performing, even if you have 20 artists performing, even if it's some crazy battle of the bands. You want to have a little blurb, 10 to 15, maybe 20, 30 words about each artist. It will help you. It will make sure that things show up. Up next, category. That's pretty straightforward too. In your case, it's almost always music. Frequency. If this is a one-time event, and in a concert's case, it usually is, you can click occurs once. If this is a weekly or monthly event, you can change that in here. We're not going to get into that too much yet because this is a basic event that we're creating. Your start date and time. We have March 2nd listed, so we are going to set that for March 2nd at 10 p.m. And that will automatically end it 3 hours later. If you want your event to end sooner or later, you can go ahead and change that in the ends. I think 3 hours for two bands is probably a little long, but we're going to leave it as is. Up next, your co-hosts. This is really, really big right now. You want to have as many co-hosts as possible for your events. So in your co-hosts, here's some examples of the things you want. You're going to want things like the venue. So we want the Smiling Moose, which is already... which is the venue. And this is a little slow to populate sometimes. So we have the Smiling Moose. Next we have my production company. Pop Punk Night. Next, we would add any of the bands performing. I'm not in any bands right now, so I will just we're just going to start adding friends. And not only are you going to add the bands performing, but you're also going to want to add each member of the band performing. That's going to do wonders in getting your post out there initially. Once you upload that event and turn that on and go live, when you have all of those co-hosts and they've all accepted to be a co-host, that's just going to spread the word infinitely. For each person that sees that, or for each person that is a co-host, or each page that's a co-host, a percentage of their audience is going to see that. So that's just, it's something that you can't pass up. That's free publicity. So I'm going to add a couple more. I'm going to add myself. I'll add my wedding DJ page. And once I post that and all of those entities accept their co-hostdom, their entire audience will see it. Up next, you have the opportunity to set a schedule. If you're doing a festival or something where there's a lot of artists performing, that can come in handy. If you click on Add Schedule, it's pretty straightforward. You can just add an item name and keep adding them as it goes and add the times as it goes along. For a concert like this, I don't think that's necessary. I think most people who go to punk shows are kind of used to one band following the next, so we can leave the schedule. Keywords, this is kind of important. So this is what's going to help you come up in the Facebook results, especially, for example, if I were booking a concert that involved My Chemical Romance and Panic at the Disco, I would want that to show up in concerts, in the suggested results of similar concerts. So one of the keywords I would use would be like emo music. And another one would be Pittsburgh. Another would be pop punk. Another might be Panic at the Disco. And I like to use about 7 or 8 keywords. So go ahead and do that. 7, 8, 9 keywords. I'm going to use a few more. My Chemical Romance. And you might want to think of things outside the box a little bit. For example, right now, the Umbrella Academy is on Netflix is pretty huge, and Gerard from My Chemical Romance actually created it, so you can do Umbrella Academy. The assumption being that people who are watching that show might be interested in My Chemical Romance and vice versa. So you have a lot of options there. For the example, kid-friendly, that's if your event is all ages, click that. It's never going to hurt. Messaging. I like to turn this on. This lets people ask questions directly to your page about this event, so there's no reason to leave that off. People are asking questions. That means there's interest. You can do some preemptive customer service. It's pretty great. Your ticket URL. This is where you would post a link to where people can buy tickets for your event. So I don't have a link because this is a fake event. So we're just going to say give a website of www.ticketmaster.com/myevent. And you can you can have that set to be on sale now, or you can have that set to be on sale at a custom date. We're going to say that these tickets go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then that way people will start getting hyped up about your event in advance. And then they'll also get a notification tomorrow at 10 a.m. when the tickets go on sale. Lastly, you have a couple options about who can post and what they can post. In most cases, I like to say that anyone can post in an event. This lets people tag their friends. This lets people talk about the event. This does open you up to a little bit of trash talk, but if you're an active moderator of your event page, then you're totally okay. If you don't like doing the moderations type thing, you can have anyone can post and all items must be approved. You'll get notifications to approve events. Or only hosts can post. If you want to keep things locked down and only people who are registered as hosts of the events to post, you do have that opportunity. Guest list, I always leave this checked, display guest list. People can see if their friends are coming to the event. That can be an extra incentive for people to come. From here you have the option to save this as a draft and come back to it later. You can publish it immediately, or you can schedule it for publishing in the future. We will talk about timing when we get to best practices here in a bit, because that does have a pretty big bearing on some of the views that you'll catch. So that's pretty much it. We are not going to do anything with this event. We don't want to publish it since this is a dummy event, so I am just going to X out of this, and we're going to talk about some best practices. Let's talk best practices. And one of the best practices that I can give you from my years of experience is when you're making a Facebook event, use a computer. The options that you have when you're using a computer as opposed to a tablet or a cell phone are just so much more. So if you can't afford both to have a laptop and a phone, you might want to go to the library to create your events, or see if you can source yourself a cheap Chromebook or something. It really does make all the difference in the world. Next thing I want you to know is to triple check all of your event details before you go live. The reason I say that is I've noticed that when you go in and you edit some of your details after you're live, the reach that you start to get is a little lessened. And my thought there is that Facebook thinks that you're saying one thing to promote your event and then changing it to the reality after you've got a bunch of people interested. So make sure that all of your information is 100% accurate before you hit that publish button. Up next, I mentioned this before, for your Facebook event page header, always try to use video instead of a static image. It just looks better. It will be seen by 60 to 70% more people because of the Facebook algorithm. If you cannot create video, you can reach out to us. We will do it for as little as $10. Very, very easy to get that started. Just reach out and contact us. Last best practice I'm going to give you today is the time that you publish your event, the time that you go live. I found that the best time to do that is between 7 and 9 p.m., whatever your local time is. And that tends to be when most music fans are online. So it would stand to reason that more would see your event. So that's some of the best practices that I've come up with in my years of experience making Facebook events. If you have any tips, be sure to leave them in the comments. Now we're going to talk about some common mistakes that I see when I look at various Facebook events, especially when it comes to concerts. And one of the most common pitfalls that I come across has to do with co-hosts. If I look at an event at a concert and it has just one of the bands playing, and the venue not tagged as a co-host, or the other bands performing not as co-hosts, or the members of the band not as a co-host, I know that event's going to struggle to get some organic reach. So make sure that you're adding your co-hosts, the venue, the band members, all the bands performing,
And make sure that all of those people are accepting those invites too. Send them a text, send them a message, let them know, hey, I'm gonna add you as a co-host to this because you're crucial to the success of this event. So that's really important. Next common pitfall I see is an ugly header. We talked about using static image headers. Most people are still doing that, and that's not good, but what's even worse is that a lot of them are really, really ugly. They are missized. A lot of people are just taking 8.5 by 11 concert flyers and posting them in as the event header. It doesn't work like that. There are a million graphic design resources out there. We are one of them. Feel free to reach out to us. If your header's ugly, people are just gonna ignore it. Last thing I'm gonna touch on is people not using keywords. In the options to set up a Facebook event, there is a section for keywords. You want to use those. That will associate your event with other events of similar keywords. So say, for example, you're looking at concerts in your area and you see that DMX is coming. He's coming to Pittsburgh. And you're a performer who kind of wants to see some of DMX's audience at your shows. You would tag in your keywords DMX, and there's a pretty good chance that your concert will show up in the suggested events below his. So something to think about. Those are some talk about in today's episode is getting your event page noticed. And how we're going to do that is through organic reach. I'm not going to talk much about paid reach right now. That's a topic for another day. It's a massive subject that would probably require more than one episode. So we're just going to focus on sharing right now. And how I found the best get the word out about your event is by having your event shared on a schedule. And here's how this should happen. First of all, the venue should be sharing your event. They should be doing it immediately when you announce the event, and then about a week before, and then the day of. I feel like that's a pretty good schedule. It's pretty fair. It doesn't overwhelm the venue with posts about your show, but it keeps their audience in the know. So if you can talk to the owner or the social media person at the venue you're dealing with, that's a really good schedule to promote your event. As for how your band or you should promote your event as a performer, first of all, this is a team effort. Everybody involved in making your music should be doing this and sharing this on a sort of staggered schedule. But the band should be announcing once at the announcement, obviously, along with every member. And then each member should also be posting about the show once a week. And they can do that in a staggered way. So if you have 5 band members, that's you can have each band member make a different post on a different day, and you're getting a ton of reach like that. So, and then as you roll closer to the event, the week of the event, each band member should be making about a post a day, hyping everybody up about it, talking about the preparations going on, talking about, things of that nature, talking about how excited they are to see the crowd. So that really gets people into the event. It also makes sure that more people see it, more people start buying tickets, especially in that last week. So that's one of the best ways to get some organic reach. In a future episode, we'll talk about paid reach. And so that was episode 1 of Amplified. I hope you'll know a little bit more about Facebook events than you did before you watched this. My name's Adam. If you appreciate what I did, you can please buy me a coffee at the address below. Also, if you need any social media videos or consulting services, feel free to reach out. I'll answer questions all day for free, and if you need some help, I'd be glad to take on your work.